Welcome to Worst Tutorials Live. You're hanging out today with Brian and Bradford. Oh gosh, you got the mug. Hold on. The show right must there. Pause. I have to go get my mug.
It's right there.
What a shot that is. Did you see that, Bradford?
No.
You just see my rear end in the frame, beautiful. And that's it. Worship Tutorials mugs available. This is a great start. Welcome to the live show. Let's tell you something. Worship Tutorials mugs available now at...
And then there's these worship tutorial mugs.
Yeah,
right here.
You can get these. They are available. There's another one that says Rock the Flock, which I have downstairs. I don't have...
No, we don't need 3 cups of coffee for 2 people.
That's where you're wrong, Bradford.
Well, you don't need 3 physical
cups. Oh, you know
cups.
what? I'm drinking Stoke just black. I didn't put anything in it.
You're a man now.
I did.
I've rubbed off on him.
I did that for a while. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm not disappointed. It's pretty good stuff. worshiptutorials.spreadshirt.com. Spreadshirt.
So it's not on the worship tutorials site.
worshiptutorials.spreadshirt.com. That's where you can get these mugs and some t-shirts as well. How's everyone doing today? Let us know where you're from, what's going on in your life. We'd love to connect with you in that way.
If you want to.
We're going to talk about our favorite guitars that we've ever owned.
Do it now, actually. I changed my mind.
We're going to talk about from the cheapest guitars to the most expensive guitars that we own, which is that one behind us in the middle.
Fuller can't be here, and we go off the rails and decide to talk about guitars. Materialism.
I know. Fuller's wife is a little under the weather, so he's helping. Fuller has 4 kids, by the way. So when the 4, your family, you don't want to have one sick parent in charge of 4 children.
Yeah,
so
that's hard.
Fuller's doing what Fuller needs to do and putting family first. All right.
So Brian and I we've been...
Where can I put this?
I've been putting mine on the ground.
I'll put it right there on a chair. Let's do this, Brad.
Okay.
Let's talk about... I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We tend to do that to each other.
Brian and I, we've been
on a journey a guitar journey over the last 5 years, it seems, is when it all kind of started. Brian and I have really been buying more and better guitars.
I have acquired many guitars over the last 5 years.
Yes.
So.
And we get, there are a lot of comments at times, and most of the times it's people who don't really follow us too closely. It's understandable. You know, face value, you're like, man, these guys just have lots of guitars and lots of money.
That's not necessarily the case.
That's not the case. Brian and I have spent a lot of time buying stuff and slowly selling that other stuff and putting a little more money towards another guitar and then doing it again and again. And that's kind of how we do things. Like, Brian will text me a link of something and he'll be like, if I sell this and this, I could get this. And that's kind of pretty much all Brian and I ever talk about. Occasionally, we talk about
other things.
Other things.
Yeah.
But it may seem on face value that, Brian, that's what we do. But
I'm going to try and monitor some comments.
You should. There's a lot coming in.
Yep.
We have gotten to try a lot of stuff. And we've spent a lot of time figuring out what we like. And so today, we're talking to you all about the time we've spent and help you maybe eliminate spending time.
Yeah.
And you may actually spend more money than you plan on it because you have to ship a guitar or you sell it on Reverb. You have to pay them some.
Right.
So Brian and I we're no master end all be all, but we've tried a lot, and you're here for a reason. So we want to hopefully drop some knowledge.
It's a divine appointment from the Lord.
There's a reason you're here today.
You
are worth something.
John Nazi, hey John.
Hey John.
Asks this, and this is where I want us to go first. Favorite guitars under $500. So what I thought would be cool, Brad, is if you watch Worship Tutorials videos, you do not see guitars under $500 in the videos. Product placement, much.
Well, I'm just drinking my coffee.
We use a lot of higher end guitars in our videos, but we have not always played high end guitars. In fact, for most of our guitar playing lives, we played what I would think of as budget guitars, or I think a guitar priced in the $500 to $800 range is that's a lot for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can buy some really, really good guitars in that range. And for most of our lives, we played guitars in that range.
Yes.
So let's just talk about the guitars that we've owned. What was your first electric guitar, Brad?
My first electric was
What was yours? And how much did it cost?
Oh, man, I'm blanking on the name.
Mark V is here just because they're bored. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence, Mark V.
Sweet.
Glad that you're engaged. Okay.
It was
Brad's first guitar.
I got it at...
First guitar you can remember, anyway.
Well, I remember what the first guitar I got, but I don't remember the exact brand. I'm from Virginia, Chesapeake.
Yep.
And they have these things called music and art centers.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like, you can, like... I guess it was like a chain of sorts, but, like, you could do a franchise. I don't really know. Either way, this guy owned one, and he, like... A lot of times they were connected to, like, a pawn shop. Like, they did, like, the music and art centers were, like... They had, like, guitars. They had new stuff, but also then they had stuff they took in on, like, consignment or on loan or whatever it was.
So
I got, like, a pawn shop special thing.
Okay.
And it was, like, some brand. For some reason, I feel like it was, like, called a New York Pro. I don't know why that
So it was like
out.
an off-brand.
It was an off-brand. It was a black... Was it black? No, it was blue. It was a blue Strat.
Was it junk?
Oh, I mean, at this point, it probably... Like, I can't remember. I feel safe.
Like $100?
Well, I got that in a little Gorilla practice amp, and it was like $350.
Okay.
And I had to, like, pay my dad in installments because I was 14.
When was this?
I was 13.
So this was about 15, 16 years ago.
Brian, I'm 30 now.
17 years ago.
Almost 17 years ago.
Brad and I are 10 years apart in age, so this year...
He's about to turn 40.
Brad turned... By the way, wish Brad a happy birthday, because he turned 30...
On Sunday.
I turned 40 this year. So your first guitar was a no-name knockoff Strat.
And I didn't know
How long
anything
did you
about
play
sound. That? Probably about a year.
We could talk about so many things. We're going to have to keep it, like, on point.
I'll go quick.
What did you get next?
I got, after that, I was looking for something a little bit better, so I got a Mexican-made Strat, which I still own, actually. I regret selling that first guitar.
A legit Fender
Mexican-made Strat. And they were like $350.
That's our recommendation for a guitar under $500.
Yeah.
Tele or Strat, pick your poison.
Yeah, you probably, at this point, I think they're like $650, $700 new. Yeah. But, like, I got mine, which is so weird. I got mine in, like, 2004, 2005, and it was only $350. New? Yeah.
Brand new? That's the price?
That was brand new, off the rack. Isn't that weird?
So when did you get that?
It was, like, 2004, I think, or something like that. 2003.
And now they're, what, 600?
Around there, yeah.
Used, you can buy them for probably $4.
Yeah, you can get them. Actually, one of our buddies that works with us, Marcelo, got a Mexican-made Stratocaster on Craigslist for like $200.
Guitars that I've ever
Brian's got so many pictures.
So we love Mexican-made Fenders.
Great stuff.
And both of us have played them. So you played a Strat for a while. The cool thing about them is, if you're looking for a guitar, that's our recommendation. And the cool thing about them is, like, that line of guitars, the Fender Standard line made in Mexico, has been done forever. Like, like 25 plus years they've been doing that. And the quality is consistent over that whole time period because it's the same factory. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe my facts are a little off. But, like, it's a very consistent line. So you can buy one from the 90s, from the 2000s, 2010s. They're all going to be pretty solid guitars, depending on how well they've been maintained. And they've done a ton of, like, different lines. One of my first electric guitar ever was an Epiphone Les Paul Standard, just like that one, but it was in Honeyburst, or like a tobacco, kind of like a root beer burst. Okay. It was my first ever electric guitar. Played it through a Line 6 Spider 2, my first amp.
I never owned one of those.
Not very good.
I did own a Crate amp, which was solid state, and it had like delay and reverb and stuff, and I thought it was so cool. Yeah, and
Crate made some good stuff back in the day. They made some tube amps that were pretty good.
They did, yeah. I've
sold
heard
them at
some
Guitar
that sound
Center.
pretty good.
Yeah, I almost bought one once. So that was my first ever guitar. Those are also solid guitars. So if you love Les Pauls, man, the Epiphone Les Paul line is really good. Made in Korea or wherever they make them. made overseas.
Thought it was
Also, probably about $600 new, but $300 to $400 used.
Yeah.
So like and then here are some of the guitars I played along the way, which are gonna fall in line with Brad. So I had that Epiphone, and I quickly realized that like this was in college.
Is that it right there? No, that's something else.
No, the Epiphone is right here.
Yeah. Look at Brian Wall.
If I can turn this around, you can see.
That looks slick.
This was my very first ever electric guitar, my Epiphone Les Paul.
Oh, it's blown out a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't. Here.
I mean, but even then, you could still kind of sort of take pictures. Is that better?
That is it.
That is better.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that was my first ever electric guitar. I was in college, so I graduated from college in 2002. That'll date me. So this guitar was from the late 90s. And it was a good guitar, and I kind of wish I still had it. But I kind of quickly realized, like, I like Fender guitars more than... so I went through a sort of a spree of Mexican-made Fenders. I had the guitar that Brad played forever, which was...
That's my mainstay.
The Fender 72 Thinline reissue electric guitar. That bad boy right there. That was like my main guitar for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so Brad would play. You played exactly the same guitar. We didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other at the time.
But that. So one of the cool things about that Fender Mexican line is like they make some really cool like reissues, artist stuff. And so I played the Thinline. That was the Thinline. I also had I sold it and bought the Deluxe because I wanted a solid body. Mm-hmm. So it was the same guitar but solid, no F-hole. I then sold that guitar and bought the Fender Jimmy Vaughn Signature Strat.
I remember you telling me
which was also a made in Mexico Fender. Let me show you a photo of it. Looks like this.
It's a beautiful white Strat.
It was really a really cool Strat. Like that was one of my favorite Strats I've ever played actually. Because it had like the V-shaped neck. Again, you can get that Fender Jimmy Vaughn Strat for probably $400 used. Made in Mexico. So those made in Mexico Fenders are really cool. And then I had some other guitars along the way. And then I got the... Can you grab that blue Telecaster there?
Yes.
I got the itch. And so I sold all that stuff off. And I built this with my grandfather.
It's so
and
cool.
So I lived in Oklahoma City at the time. My grandfather is still living, is in his 90s now. But he was a carpenter all his life. And so I went to, I have plans for this. So I've already gone to feel the edge.
I remember that's
like
I was going to mention
I've rolled the fretboard. I've like dressed all the fret edges. This is like my project. This is how I learned how to do stuff on this guitar.
The neck you bought.
The neck I bought from Warmouth.
Yeah, necks are tricky to make.
Yeah, so the body, though, was a slab of alder that I bought at a...
Slab is a good word for it.
Specialty wood shop in Oklahoma City. No, this one's light.
It's still heavy.
The other one I built was
the other one was like we're in a brick around.
So my grandpa has a shop. He doesn't anymore, but he had a shop because he was a carpenter and woodworking was his hobby. So he had all these tools, and so I bought a Telecaster template off eBay by a guy, Ron Kern, actually, who makes awesome guitars, by the way, because that's who Sean's Jazz Masters are Ron Kern guitars, and they're good. Anyway, so I bought the template, and my grandpa and I call this guitar Wilbur No. 2, because my grandpa's name is Wilbur. Wilbur Reimer. I'm a German through and through, man. And so... my grandpa and I just routed this body out, and I finished it. This is Krylon paint that I bought at like Walmart. I wanted Daphne blue, and I actually put nitrocellulose lacquer on it. It was a learning process. But this guitar was like the stars aligned when I made this guitar because it plays and feels really nice.
It does, and it plays even better now.
Yeah, because this is a guitar that I really learned how to do setups on, and I've gosh, there's a lot of fret wear on it. I used to play, this was my main guitar for years. This one, because I sold everything else. Because I didn't have any money at the time, right? And so like I had a handful of other guitars and I sold them all and I built two. So to fund mostly the necks and the neck and the pickup and the hardware.
Yeah, the necks are pricey.
So I bought two necks from Warmouth and they're like $200 or $300 each. And then all the hardware. I put like pretty good pickups in it. This has a Seymour Duncan mini humbucker neck, which I really like. And it's got a little 59 in the bridge, which I don't like. And I think it's because the pots are 250K pots, which are made for single coils. And it makes humbuckers sound really woolly. And the humbuckers want 500.
You have a pickup to put in it. You just haven't done that.
I haven't. I have a Porter custom Tele Bridge, which is a killer pickup to put in here. So this guitar is going to live one day, but it might need a refret or at least a drip. I could use this. I need to like level the frets. That's a
good segue.
Guitar for me to learn how to level.
That's true.
Frets.
That's a good segue into what a few people have asked.
Okay, what's that?
They asked, do you buy a cheap guitar and then upgrade, or do you spend the same amount of money on a guitar? So I think there's a lot of ways. Like if you got enough money to buy a nice guitar right out the gate,
I want to start playing this again.
Then just buy a nice guitar right out the gate.
Look, I routed a hole into the back of it too.
Because you put a little too much. He was getting excited.
Yeah, that was a drill bit gone wrong.
But the thing that we have found as we've been trying, like lately, we've been doing some pretty intentional experimenting, I guess, with guitars and figuring stuff out. Most of the time, what you're paying for is not necessarily the fact that it's a better guitar. It's the fact that somebody paid more attention to that guitar.
When you buy a higher end guitar.
So instead of just putting it together and shipping it out the door, like this Epiphone was, like Brian took care of the frets, and just that alone made a huge difference.
That takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time. And
that
so
time is what you pay for.
That's part of what you are paying for. Is
time
because somebody's dressing that and making it smooth.
And somebody taught them how to do all that too.
Yes, somebody had to teach them that. And so like, if you can learn, but like that's going to take time. And so you could probably get a rather experienced luthier to do it for a couple $100, I would imagine. And like
a fret dress.
Yeah, and like if you like the way it plays already, then maybe you don't like the way it sounds. So like I would say if you were looking at buying a guitar, a cheaper guitar, like $300, and you were like, okay, what should I do to make this a better guitar? What's kind of bothering you, the way it plays or the way it sounds? And fix that first.
Probably a little bit of both.
Possibly, but pick your poison first.
A good setup.
Fix that.
Yeah, a good setup and a new set of pickups will transform most any like Squire. Mexican.
Because like this guitar does not feel like
Epiphone Les Paul.
The $150. Well, how did you? What price did you?
No, I paid. So let's grab
this. $200.
So this was a recent deal. It was basically a YouTube series.
I mean, it's heavy.
And a partnership with Curtis Lamberton of Lamberton's Pickups. To take this this guitar is a boat anchor, man. To take this guitar, which is a Epiphone Les Paul standard that I bought used for $300.
$300, okay.
And it came in pretty much like new condition. It felt and played really nice. And then I took it and again dressed and leveled. Or I didn't level, but I dressed and polished all the frets. So like the fret ends on this is a pet peeve of mine when you have sharp fret ends. Shelton Electric Instruments has spoiled.
It's spoiled, yeah.
Because the fretwork on Shelton stuff is just second to none. And so I went and I just rounded all these. I bought some tools from StewMac, and that guitar was my guinea pig. That's how I learned how to do it. That blue telly. Yeah, you can't see what I'm pointing at. This guitar was my second, and it's smooth.
And that's
feels good.
And I think that is what takes it over.
Rolled the edge of the fretboard so it's not sharp.
Yep.
So everything is nice and smooth and round.
Yep.
I don't like the neck profile on this guitar.
Yeah, that's personal preference. But I think I've gotten past it enough to decide that I think it plays very well.
I could play it.
I don't think I'm that.
This could be my main guitar.
It could.
I would, and it stays in tune because I put a new nut on it.
That's important.
Yeah, and that was an easy thing to do.
That's easy, and they're not. You could get like when you consider what a nut is, like $20 or $30 seems kind of pricey. Yes, sometimes you have to adjust stuff.
Yeah,
but like that could seem kind of pricey to spend $20 or $30 on something like that.
Yeah,
but like overall,
this nut was like $15 or less.
There you go, even cheaper.
But if you're gonna pay someone to do it,
you have to.
Yeah.
But like there are small upgrades you can make, and somebody actually asked, "What about the name of the headstock?" And I mean, that's all up to you.
Epiphone.
That like
look, it's an Epigibby. Know what they say?
Epiphany.
No, Riggs of Dad. Epi is playing the Epi Gibby.
Oh, Chris Sly told us. He said that
Yeah.
he was like, my first guitar was an Epiphany. That's what I thought how it was pronounced.
It was an Epiphone.
But like, it's all up to you. Like, you know, buy a guitar that. Like we said this, we talked about this a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, buy a guitar that inspires you.
Yes.
And like, spend money.
Don't worry
what
about
you feel,
what other people play.
And that's. I mean, we're Instagram generation, right? Like, you're gonna see stuff on Instagram. Like, you probably even saw my post on Instagram about the new guitar I just got recently.
Yeah, we're gonna move into some higher end stuff.
We're gonna get there quickly. But like, if a guitar inspires you, but there's like that one thing that you can't get past, consider. What is it going to take to get past that? Is it mean replacing pickups down the road? Is it taking it to somebody and having them like pay attention to it, dress it up, set it up, clean it up? And like, if it's going to inspire you, like this guitar, when we first got it, we couldn't put it down. Like this Bigsby, the Crema pickups.
Oh, it's the whole
whole setup and stuff, and like
sounds and plays.
It's an inspiring guitar. So like,
and I've played it live. I've played it on Sunday.
Yeah.
And what the funny thing was, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I brought it out, and one of our keys players, who doesn't know much about guitars because he's a keys guy, he goes, "That looks like an expensive guitar." That's the first thing he said to me.
Because it's a
which
gold
was
top.
hilarious to me because
I
was like, actually, it's not. It's a kind of a cheaper guitar that I just dressed it up nice.
I mean, when you look at what's all in on this, I think go watch the series. They're fun. They're fun videos
it's
to
about
watch.
$900 worth of stuff between the guitar used and all the pickups, the Bigsby, the Vibramate, everything, and that doesn't include labor.
Yeah, go watch the series though if you're interested because this is fun. But like, this is a fun process to do.
920D.
920D. They did. But I will say. I mean, it's kind of hard to get an unbiased opinion from us at this point in our lives. We understand that.
Yeah.
But, you know...
From anybody.
A good guitar is a lot of times, to me, my definition of a good guitar comes down to how does it play. And that can be fixed pretty easily with just time and effort. You could learn it yourself, especially like if you're a little nervous, like buy something cheap.
Yeah.
You could probably find something on Craigslist for a decent amount of money. Like a cheap amount of money, and you could work on tricking it out. Yeah. Brian sets up all my guitars now, pretty much.
I haven't set up the Elliot.
The Elliot didn't need to be set up.
When you buy a guitar from Elliot, hopefully you don't
Andy Elliot is like a master luthier and guitar setup guy too, and all that.
Let's segue. Can
Are we going to jump right in? Are we not going to talk about middle range guitars?
Okay,
so go right to
I've had some middle range. So here are some other highlights that at least I've owned. PRS.
Ron Dorco.
Hey, Ron. PRS SE. I've owned several PRS SE guitars. I owned a long time ago. I had an SE Soap Bar 2, which they haven't made that for years.
Okay.
It was a cool guitar. I owned an SE Zach Myers. Remember that thing was pretty cool. I kind of want another one of those, but I would never play it, so I'm not gonna buy one. And then I owned an S2, PRS S2.
That's good. Let's just get all the bad ideas out right now, Brian.
Which I bought new from Sweetwater.
Office quote.
For like $850. I don't know how that happened. It was a demo. It was a demo model. My Sweetwater rep treats me good. And so that guitar was really cool.
Now you probably never talked to him.
And Nick Rice dropped it from the playing position, put a huge gash in it, so I sold it like for $600. Somebody got a killer deal on that guitar.
And some people don't even like that guy probably forgets about that ding on the regular.
It doesn't, yeah.
Like because you don't see it, and
so those guitars are all in the like $700 to $1,000 range.
Yeah.
Which I would put a used American Fender in that range.
Yeah.
You can buy them for $800 to $1,000.
I saw an American Strat for like $600 the other day. Yeah.
Like pro musicians that tour the world play those kind of guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's us in our bedrooms playing these stupidly expensive
Which
guitars.
is kind of funny to say. Shall we segue? Or have you owned any mid-level?
Well,
like
that
$800 to $1,200
range is like $899 new.
I'm gonna grab a guitar while you're talking.
And that thin line I had was really sweet. And when the
was
frets died,
this was my gateway drug.
That was
okay.
The frets died, and I had the frets redone, and that guitar felt amazing. It sounded So good. It had the wide range humbuckers, which had some beef to them.
By
Mark Kane. That
awesome.
did not suck.
Yeah, he refretted this guitar too, by the way.
The wide range humbuckers they're single coil basically. In essence, they're like a single coil.
They're meant to sound that way. Yeah.
But there wasn't the buzz was dropped substantially because of the humbuckerness, whatever. And I really loved it. That guitar was awesome. And I just got it because I saw other worship guys with them, like Chris Kilala had one. Yeah. And he was using one.
Kilala. Was his a reissue or was it a real 70s Fender?
I mean, it's hard to say. It could literally go either way, you know? Yeah. I couldn't tell you for sure. Yeah. But I loved that thing.
And you know what it was, the video that
Your Love Never Fails.
Your Love Never Fails, the video. He starts off playing it and it's great tone too. Yeah. This was my gateway.
Oh yeah, I was so jealous when you got that.
I had the S2, the PRS S2 Starla, the PRS Starla, and I sold it plus a few other guitars and bought this from MJT. So MJT is Mark Jenny. Yes, somebody's
spamming us.
Yeah, you can block them. Do it. Do it. Done. Put them in timeout. Don't block.
Well, I can't do it. I'm not logged into your account.
Oh. Here, we'll put someone in timeout here. Sorry for the spammy, commenty stuff here. How do I do this? Oh, hit the 3 little deals. Put the user in timeout. Yes, we asked you where you're from, and once is sufficient. Okay, so MJT you can send them a guitar, a body, or a neck, and they'll age it for you. So this is not really a 50-year-old guitar.
Or you can buy directly from them.
Buy a whole guitar from them.
Or just the part that you want from them.
Yeah, or just a body or just a neck. But I wanted the whole deal. So this was a complete build from MJT. Even holding it now, this guitar is associated with so many feelings for me. I will never sell this guitar. I still love this guitar. It plays.
This is a very sweet guitar. It made me like Tellys.
Yeah, and so...
The thin line didn't really count.
$1,600 is what you'll pay MJT to build you a full build. At least it was a few years ago. Yeah. It might be different now. That includes a case that they aged to match the aging on the guitar. It's about a 6 to 9 month wait time, though. Because they build it, they finish it, and then they relic it.
I don't think it was that long.
6 months, yeah. Yeah, I think so. So I found a bunch of pictures online of guitars that I liked, and this is what I asked them for. Now, the one thing that I don't like about this guitar, and I think MJT would fix this. They've actually asked me if I wanted to fix it. I might reach back out to them. Is they aged this pick guard, so it looked like this little area right here. I've had people ask about this.
It did this reverse thing.
It's the reverse aging.
It went back to new.
So this was brown when I got it, right? And so this was a brand new pick guard that they aged. And I played this guitar every week, multiple days out of the week. This was my main guitar for years. And so I actually wore out the frets, so I had a refret on it. But I would play it, and as I would play it, I wore the aging off, and I wore down to the brand new,
which is so funny,
sparkly pearly white pickguard underneath. And so I've anti-aged this little section, and it looks a little odd. But it also, it looks a little strange. Because it's very much like where my hand hits it.
It's so funny though.
And so I bet I could send it to MJT, and MJT would probably just send me a new guard, and I could put it in. And but you know what? The same thing would probably happen.
Happen again.
You can buy a tinted pearloid guard, and you can. That's the whole thing is tinted, and so
probably be a little different.
Yeah, it might look a little better. But this was a $1,600 guitar. This was my first. And I sold a bunch of stuff to get into it, too. This was my first foray into high-end electric guitars. What was yours? So you played this and were like, that guitar's sweet, which it is. This guitar's awesome. Porter pickups.
I think if I remember correctly,
sorry, I'll interrupt you one more time and then we'll go. This also got me into higher-end pickups.
Yes.
Because these pickups are by Porter, Brian Porter, are really good. All his pickups are good. Okay.
Yeah. So I think what happened, I saw this guy he had a Nash Tele up for sale.
Oh, I forgot about
You forgot about the Nash?
Yeah.
And he had this Nash, and I was like, Nashes are sweet. And they're like...
Also a relic.
They are. They're a relic.
Telecaster guitars, yeah.
But for some... They're kind of interesting because, like, there's, like, people who know about them and there's people who don't. And, like, they're not, like, huge, but they've been around for a while. Like, Bill Nash, I think, is one of the, like, the OG guitar relicer kind of guys that people went to. Like, a boutique kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, but it's kind of felt that way. And I knew about Nash... Yeah, and it was a butterscotch, so like it was like a traditional. It's a Black T52, so it was supposed to be that. Yeah, and like my wife agreed to pay a little cash, and I sold a couple pedals, and I traded my Thinline to the guy. I did not think he was going to go for it, but he did. Yeah, which was awesome. And I got this thing, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. But problem was that it was so twangy. The pickups, it was Lawlers. They were so twangy that
Thank you, Derek. By
no matter what I played,
Derek is super chat.
Thank you, Derek.
He said it's the Stoke
Stoke Dono. Thank you. No matter what I played, it sounded super country, and I couldn't dial it out. Yeah, that's and when I dialed out, when I did dial it out, because it's doable, I dialed it out, then like it sounded lifeless.
It's dull. Yeah.
And so like I would love to get another one of those. It felt amazing, sounded amazing. Pickups. Or just keep it now that I'd have like other things to use, because I didn't always want that sound.
So you got the 50-ish version. I bet if you bought like they make a 63 or something. Yeah, I bet that will sound a little more modern.
Yeah, well, even just switching out pickups, but basically
put some Lambertones in.
That is not a bad option
because we have his Blondie pickups in that Telecaster over there. Man, this could be a long. We need to go eat cheeseburgers in about 10 minutes.
Yes, we do. Wow,
we'll stay a little longer, but let's talk. Okay, so let's start talking about high-end guitars because a lot of the questions. So you bought that Nash, and then you bought a Duesenberg Star Player, and then I bought it from you, and it's hanging on the wall right there.
I don't miss it as much anymore.
Oh, you can see it in the shop. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Y'all see it.
Yeah, that's a killer guitar, though. It has 5 strings currently. I broke a string on it 2 Sundays ago.
You're just too hardcore.
Yeah, you're not hardcore unless you live hardcore. That's
and the legend of the red was way hardcore.
And so, you bought the Star Player. And then, what else have you had?
I had a 335, but it was like
a Gibson.
It was a cheap one, and
cheap, only $3,000.
No, it was like a.
Did you buy it new?
It was almost. That was a weird story. It was supposed to be new, but it was like a floor thing, and it was not very pretty. And I mean, it was still a great guitar, but like I realized at that point, in order to get a 335 I wanted, I would have had to spend like $2,500. Mm-hmm. So I sold it and bought a Kemper.
That's right. Well, we'll talk amps and stuff another day.
Yes. People are asking some other questions not directly related to this. We're trying to stay a little focused on guitars.
We need to stay on topic.
We're trying to stay on topic.
So you had the 335, and then you went into Surland.
Oh my word, that happened quick. I had an MJT Strat build. Because I had sold a lot of gear. I've done this a lot where like I sell pedals to buy a guitar and then I slowly buy pedals again and then I sell the pedals to buy another guitar. It's a fun way to do this if you think about it. Because it's like a savings account that you can actually have fun with. So that's what I do.
Except you lose money on every transaction.
Not the way I do it. I'm really good at buying pedals.
Okay.
I'm a professional pedal buyer. I wait for the good deals.
Yeah.
I had an MJT Strat, and I loved it. I'd love to have them. We both bought them. I would love to have them build another one.
They were great.
Because it was awesome. But it was the same story as my 335. Like, I realized after getting it, I was like, I realize there are things now that I would really, really want in order to love it. So I sold that.
A Telecaster.
And some pedals, and I got...
You bought a Telecaster.
A Telecaster. I bought
the greatest guitar platform of all time.
For sure. And this is probably my favorite Tele I've ever played. I don't think I played anything I love more.
Your Sir Tele is
perfect for me.
It's in a lot of videos. It's white.
It's white, black guard, and it's got roasted maple neck. So somebody asked about this, and they said they couldn't find it on the website. They used to offer it. There was a time, I think it's like a 2010, 11, or a 12, something like that. There was a time when Sir offered that as a standard offering, and now it is a custom thing. You have to do it. And so this was part of that. So I bought it from Jonathan Sullivan, who runs Tone Junkies, who got it from Tommy Zeggers.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where he got it from. I don't know if we know the guy, but I love it. It's got standard Sir pickups in it. Yeah, and there's really two sets of Sir Tele pickups.
Yeah.
There's their standard set, and then there's like, I think, what do they call them? The backwoods. It's Andy Wood's signature, and they sound like the Lawlers I had.
Okay.
It's like so really super twangy and country.
Really traditional, yeah.
Then I moved some things around, sold more pedals, and I had to have a Sir Strat, and now I do. With a V60 in the bridge, I believe. No, SSV in the bridge and V60 middle and neck. It's an SSV. Okay. And it's the most amazing 2-point tremolo system I've ever played.
I have a Sir as well. It's on the chair over there. It's the Alt-T. Sir is like, it's probably the best neck of any guitar that I have, that I own. Now, okay, so let's talk higher end stuff. So over the past 5 years, I have acquired a lot of higher end guitars. And that started with this, and then it moved on to Shelton Electric Instruments, which there are 2 in the room.
That
thing is probably
otherworldly.
It could be my favorite guitar in the room. I'm not sure at this point. It's definitely in the top 3. So Shelton is a builder. He's it's a small shop. It's basically a custom-made, custom shop guitar. And Shelton uses Porter pickups in a lot of his guitars.
There's been questions about pickups. Porters are some of our favorites.
Porters and Lambertons are our favorite pickups.
Yeah, right.
And so, this guitar has Porters. This guitar has Porters. McNelly also is very good.
He's new to us.
So the Jennings that I have has McNelly pickups, and I really like them. So what did you do?
Your Strat trim is not floated.
It is.
It's not. It's just ish.
Yeah, and so
I'm really used to my Sir one, so I just decided to fling it.
I know Brian Porter, and so over the years we've used a lot of stuff, and he has some guitars out now too that we may be doing some demos of very soon. But I know Brian Porter, and Brian put me in contact with Shelton. And so Shelton was looking for people just to do some demos of guitars and things. And I said, sure, send them out. We'll check them out. And he sent a handful of... The first Shelton he sent was a Sunburst, heavy relic Telecaster.
This guy's at it again.
And we... who is it? Is it Gideon?
It's the guy who keeps...
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. But this is happening.
Shelton sent us a guitar.
Gosh, I wish I had that guitar. Brian Fuller was too. He's like, that guitar was special. Somebody bought it, and now they're having a great time with it. I reviewed a bunch of Shelton guitars, or we reviewed them.
Oh, we've had 8, haven't we?
Yeah.
Including the ones that are currently in this room.
And so, I got to keep the red Jazzmaster back here, which is awesome. I played it Sunday. And then he sent us a handful of guitars for a conference. And this was one of them. And Brad and I both played it. You played it first.
I played it the whole conference.
And you were like, this guitar is the greatest thing I've ever played. And I told Shelton, I was like, this is not coming back. Tell me how much I owe you. So he gave me a pretty good deal on it. But I bought this guitar, which is a testament to how good it is. I was like, I'm buying this from you because it's probably one of the coolest guitars I've ever seen.
It's like a super duper Strat. There's super Strats, and then there's this.
So yeah, the Shelton stuff is really, really good. And then I had a Duesenberg Star Player for a while. But a lot of questions have been asked about Jennings and Sir and Elliot. I've seen a lot of those questions. How do they rate? So grab that Jennings Voyager over there. So Jennings is a new brand to us. And we kind of connected via Instagram, I think, right?
I don't remember. I think he just emailed.
And so anyway, Chad Jennings. Jennings is run by 2 guys. Chad is one of them. And these are all custom handmade instruments too. It's basically 2 dudes in a shop building guitars. And this guitar I've had this guitar for a little while now, a few months. And it has quickly become one of my all-time favorite guitars.
It is also a roasted maple.
Roasted maple neck.
That is an aesthetic thing, really.
It
does give a little more snap in the tone.
It also makes the wood harder, And so the neck will not move nearly as easily, roasted maple. So you can go from different climates or different seasons and need fewer adjustments on
And
the
if you live
guitar.
in North Carolina, that's basically what you experience all the time.
Yeah, so
Because it goes from 40
you'll need
degrees
fewer
to
truss
60.
rod adjustments. Thank you, Joshua, for your super chat. There's a question. We'll get to your question. He says Mateus Asato signature or custom built Alt T. That would just depend on. Those are two very different guitars. But anyway,
Yes.
the Jennings is really, really good. I love it. I love the neck on it. The fretwork that they do is comparable to Shelton, which is the highest compliment I can give. It uses the McNelly Stagger Swagger pickups, which I have really grown to like.
They're like a...
They sound like single coils a little bit.
But they're humbuckers.
They're humbuckers, yeah.
So they got some snap and sparkle, but they're beefy.
They're very chimey.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Like, it almost has a Gretsch vibe to it. Speaking of, there have been so many questions about
Because people pay
all these
attention
different
to
guitars,
our buying habits.
which is cool. We love the questions. Where is the Gretsch? Oh, it's right there. It should be easy to see. It's gold and sparkly.
Yeah, it's...
But Jennings are really, really good.
Brian also likes Bigsby's.
Yeah, I used to hate them, but I've grown to like them. And the implementation of this Bigsby is very well done. And so is the Gretsch. They feel different, but...
Oh, yeah.
Given the choice between the two, I'd pick the Jennings. Now, Jennings versus Sir, I'd put them on like the same playing field.
They really kind of are.
But they're different. They feel different.
They do.
And they have a different vibe.
We need one of the two companies to make an exact replica of one of the other company's guitars, so you can really tell.
And so,
which won't happen. Which is the whole point.
Yeah. So it's They feel different. I would say you really ought to play them, but it's really hard to do that because I don't know where you can play a Jennings.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in stores or anything.
Yeah, I don't think one of them feels better. They just feel different. I did say the Alt T has the best neck. This is right up there. This neck feels incredible.
This is a lot of Sir's deal is unfinished in a way.
It's a matte
or
finish.
like a matte finish. And so, this is reminiscent of my roasted maple neck in a lot of ways to feel,
Sir.
but this has a little bit more of a finish on it than my Sir does.
Yeah, but
my
it's not
Sir's
sticky.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the Jennings. Really cool. And he's doing a Telecaster now for like
Good deal.
$1,600.
And he also
Which
does...
is a lot of money, yes. That's what this is. But you got to think about it. It's a handmade, American-made guitar by two guys in a shop, custom built.
Yeah.
And so, like...
Exactly what you want, and it's going to feel and sound amazing.
Yeah, and so if that's what you're into, it's a good deal. Now, you can buy a Mexican-made Fender Telecaster, and it'll play and sound just about as good for a lot less. But it won't be that extra.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your Elliot.
Are we there?
I'm hungry, so I would like to get there.
Well, so we got two super chats.
Oh yeah, let's answer the first one.
The Mateus Asato signature, the Strat, it's awesome.
It's a super Strat.
I've done some. Mm-hmm. I've done just a little bit of research on it. It's supposed to be like the bridge is a specifically tuned humbucker that he wanted.
Yeah.
I forget which one. It's either based off the Thornbuck or the SSV, but it's tuned. It's tweaked a little bit. They're great guitars. I would say if you really, really love Mateus, you should get the pink one. I'm not a fan of the black. Is like a bird's eye maple neck or something. It's nasty. It's so cool. But like I don't like black and gold is not my favorite kind of
it's not your
thing.
Vibe. Unless it was a Black Falcon.
Yeah, the Black Falcon, I can kind of get past it, but even still, I want black and silver.
I would play a Black Falcon, is what you're trying to say.
Oh yeah,
I could get past it.
I could get past it. But like for me, based off the appointments that are on the Mateus Asato signature Strat, you could get just like a regular Sir Strat with very similar appointments, and it probably save you a little bit of money.
the same.
Just save you a little bit of money. It'd sound and feel about the same, but it would save you a bit of money.
The Alt T
is a completely different animal, so.
I'm gonna go grab it.
They're Thornbuckers that split, so it's like a five-way switching. What's that, Mike?
Watch out, Mike! You gotta move it. This thing. I've almost sold it twice.
I know.
Which would have been a mistake.
Big mistake. Huge.
It goes right behind you.
Big mistake. Huge. Which is a Pretty Woman reference, but I'm more pulling it out of the office.
They don't make them with thornbuckers anymore. So they put SSV pickups and they raise the price to $2,850.
That's interesting.
And they changed the neck profile. So I would look for an older one. Maybe the new ones are better. I don't know. But this is a 5-way selector switch. So positions 1, 3, and 5 are bridge, middle, neck. Position 2 is like a 2-position in a Strat, and it sounds legit like a Strat.
It does. It's got a little something extra, a little sweetness, a little beefiness.
We do a lot of like funk, R&B-ish kind of like gospel songs lately. And I've been playing this guitar a lot because it can do everything. Mm-hmm. And then position 4 is single coil neck. So it's really spanky neck. Sounds like a Telecaster neck. Kind of like Tele-Stratish neck pickup position. This guitar is really, really cool. So but personally, between this and an HSS, I don't know. They're different, but they kind of would do the same sounds. I would guess the Strat probably has a tremolo, right?
That's so the
Godo. If you want a tremolo, then I would get them.
And the Godo trems that they use are like the 2-pin.
Yeah.
And it floats and it's so smooth. It's very it feels different than like a Duesenberg trem, but I loved that trem. And so it's smooth in that way, like it. And so I think it's one of my favorite guitars. Every time I play that guitar, I'm like, this Strat. Like, it's so versatile. I use the middle pickup, which is not something many people use on Strats, I don't think. But their middle pickup is so sweet, so good. Mm-hmm. So it depends on what you're going for. They're both great guitars, but I mean, I'd pick a Strat first before I'd pick an Alt-T. I'd get an Alt-T, but I'd get it second.
I'm the opposite. Well, I did. Of course, I have the Shelton Strat, which is like the only Strat I will ever need. But I personally love Telecasters. Like I have, how many Teles do I have in the room?
1, 2,
3, 4.
Where's the fourth one?
I'm holding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 4.
I have 4 Telecasters, so I love Telecasters.
That's the most un-Telecaster-like out of all of them. But.
Yes. Segue. Grab that Telecaster. There was a super chat question by Derek. Why don't you guys do parts casters?
Well, depends on your definition of a parts caster, I guess.
I will define it as this guitar Brad is going to grab.
Well, yes.
Here, trade me.
But, like...
we need places to put things. Here, I'm just going to sit it over here.
I don't think parts casters are a bad thing, but I'd rather grab a guitar, buy a guitar that somebody put together, and it, you know.
So this guitar is a neck. I bought the neck from MJT, and I had them age it just like that one. Basically, I said, give me this neck without the aging on the front.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. So the back of the neck is slightly aged. You'll see.
Aged.
I
like saying like that.
Same profile. This guitar.
Brian and I love Teles.
And so this body is a thing that I got from a guy on eBay.
But you got it
Augustus Guitars.
It wasn't a blank. It was just cut.
It was completely unfinished.
Oh, that's the. Yeah. There you go.
So it's actually a mahogany body with a maple top. It's different. I wanted something unique. Mahogany body, flamed maple top. I did this finish myself with spray paints that I got from Guitar Re-Ranch. And then I nitro finished it. So this was my... I wanted to know if I could do a sunburst finish.
You can.
In my garage. And so I did.
Yeah, if Brian likes... he's pretty critical over it, but like I always forget that he did that because it's so good.
Yeah, I finished it myself. And I need to play... I don't play this guitar enough, man.
But it's loaded with...
At first it had Porter 9T pickups, which are like P90 in a Telecaster pickups.
And
I still have
they're
them.
a little different.
Over there.
They're a little different, but they are P90s.
They sound really cool, and we did a demo, and we put them in some videos. The demo you did of those 9T pickups sounds awesome. But I wanted Telecaster pickups, because I played that, and I loved it, so I just wanted more Tele-ish pickups. And we had just formed this relationship with Curtis over at Lambertones. And so these are his Blondie Tele pickups, and they sound awesome. Really good.
They punch, but
they're
got
a little
that
more
Tele
modern.
thing.
Well, these are the Porter Vintage, and these are a little different.
Yeah.
So it's like two different flavors of awesome Telecaster.
And basically the same kind of telly, because, you got the thin line nature.
So this is a parts caster that I love. And like all this stuff I just bought from random places. The bridge is from All Parts, I think. I think I got the pick guard on eBay or something cheap. I just put it all together. So,
and it came down to the setup,
which
Brian's very good at.
Yeah.
And
I think if Worship Tutorials goes bust, I'm going to open a setup shop. Bring me your guitars. I will go broke because it's like there's probably not much of a market for that. But I love doing it. So, yeah, this is a part. So we do have parts casters in the room. The guitar I built with my grandpa could probably be a parts caster.
Well, that's what I said. So, like, it depends on the definition of a parts caster. Because, like, that you did, like, is a parts caster definition just merely, like, you didn't buy the guitar built from somebody else?
Yeah.
Because, there you go.
Put it together yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like,
This is not a parts caster, though. And most MJTs are.
Yeah.
That one's not.
They did everything. You can buy a kit where, like, did you say this already? Where they, like, give you everything done and you just put it together?
Yeah, you put it together.
You can do that. They do it, like, on eBay. Like, sometimes you can get lucky and, like, get some of their stuff for cheaper than they normally do because they do, like, they allow you to bid and they'll put bodies up, like, finished bodies. If you're, like, looking at, sometimes you'll get lucky. Sometimes, like, they don't. It's funny. They're very strict about, like, their standards about what they want. And so they'll, like, put something up and they'll say it's a defect, and you're like, what? It's relict.
Yeah.
But they're like, it's not what we wanted. Or maybe, like, a customer had requested something different.
Yeah.
And so you can get their bodies for, like, $200. And, you know,
if you're lucky.
I've seen them.
Here's a great super chat question, and then we'll move on. So Daniel Thompson, thank you. This is a great question. From Knoxville, Tennessee, Emmanuel Church. 2 guitar players, probably on the worship team. What are 2 different guitars that complement each other well, tone-wise? There's some really easy ways to go about this. Humbuckers and single coils.
That's the easy. That's the easy, straightforward answer.
And that's when I play guitar at church, I will often pay attention to who the other guitar player is. And depending who it is, there's one guy that I play with a lot, Jonathan. He plays a Gibson SG. So a lot of times, the SG is a humbucker guitar, but it's kind of brighter. But a lot of times I'll play a single coil guitar with him. The other guy I play with a lot is Sean, who plays the Elliot 357 single coil pickups.
That's our segue here.
Yeah, single coil pickups. So I'll typically play a humbucker guitar.
Well, they're actually, I found out, they're like gold foil and Filtertron inspired, so they're actually kind of like
they're
humbuckers,
like in between,
which is funny.
Yeah, so that's an easy way to think about it: humbuckers versus single coils.
However,
but
you may have a guy who likes a Les Paul, but he dials it in rather bright.
Yeah,
and you may have a guy who likes his telly, but he loves it to be really fat. So
a lot of it's the way that you sculpt the sound.
The way you sculpt the sound, like your EQ guy,
the
and
amp you use,
the way, like, the pedals. Like, you could have a guy who uses a Les Paul that's really fat, but then he wants to use a tube screamer for everything. So then it's taking his signal and going bloop and pushing the mids up. And so there's so many things, and so it's not necessarily about
that's a great question.
Complimentary. It's about paying attention and knowing how each other's going to play, and always evaluating.
You can go. So another thing you can do is one of you can play a Fender style amp and the other play a Vox style amp, and those 2 styles of amps will complement each other very well. Vox is a more mid push sound. Fender is a more mid scoop sound. So the highs and lows are more accentuated. Vox, the mids are more accentuated. Together, it's a very full sound. That's why a lot of times guitar players will use a Fender and a Vox style together in a dual amp setup. Yeah. Another thing you can think about is what parts you're playing. And so you can have like very similar tone, but play parts that complement each other well, and it's going to sound really good. So there's a lot of it comes into arrangement, and like this could be a whole other episode. But hopefully that gives you something to think about.
And like playing
trying to move on to the end so we can go.
That's true.
Yeah,
playing like rock music where your band is just consisting of 2 guitars, bass, drums, and vocals.
Yeah.
It's more important that, like, you have to decide, do 2 guitars need to sound the same so it sounds like one massive wall of sound? Because that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
Or do you want two different guitar parts and sound really different? So it depends on what you're going for. In worship music, you're occupying a frequency range that your sound guy is gonna carve out certain sounds and boost certain frequencies and boost other frequencies.
Yep.
So maybe there's freedom in that. Maybe you found freedom today, realizing that there's lots of things that you could do.
And you should play what inspires you.
Yes, that's always the answer.
Like, what if you play a guitar and you
Can I talk about something that inspires me?
Yeah, and you always are like, when I play this guitar, I feel different, and it causes me to play different things.
I know that you have to get interesting.
While you get that, I'm going to answer a few other questions that I saw. Question about Gretsch Electromatics as like lower end guitars. I've owned two Electromatics. One was a Jet, the other was a big hollow body. I did not like the big hollow body. I thought the Jet was really cool.
Yeah.
Now Brad and I have both owned Proline made in Japan Gretches. I still have mine, and
it's kind of confusing because they call the Pro Jets or the Korean made, but it's
the Pro line is
the Pro line. Yeah.
Let's talk about this guitar.
Woo doggy. Yes.
This is an Elliot Peter
Tone
Stroud signature Tone Master.
Yes.
To buy one of these, you need $1,000 times 5. About, and you need to wait for
Depending
about
on the
9
finish.
months.
It could be up to 14.
9 months to a little over a year wait time to buy one of these guitars.
Some guitars are a different wait time because it depends.
How much
on
do they cost?
It's a.
I mean, we
range.
can talk. People are gonna look. We can talk.
There's different finishes, different setups. It's Andy is a master at his craft.
Andy Elliot.
Andy Elliot.
This guy.
It's his guitars.
Yep.
A handful of his guitars are inspired. They're brought out of somebody coming to him and saying that they wanted a guitar kind of made, and so he's got
like
Peter Stroud, James Duke, and Drew Shirley are three of their, and then he's got like an S style and he's got a T style.
Mm-hmm. And he's got that Telecaster that looks like a
Halo
Rickenbacker.
Oh, the Raven.
Yeah,
the Raven was like his first
really
thing, I think. I've been to the shop twice recently.
Somebody from Elevation played one of those for a while, right?
A lot of the Elevation guys.
Who was it that played a Raven?
Probably Mac Brock.
Yeah,
but a lot of the guys at Elevation use him because he's in like Statesville.
Or was it Dan? This one's mine. Doesn't he play an Elliot? That guy.
I think he did. He has a Tone Master.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, there've been a lot of questions like, how does it compare?
Yeah.
Because it is. So here's the thing.
It's otherworldly.
So let's be honest about things here. The Jennings, the Sir, in a large part the Duesenberg, all these guitars are in like the $2,500 range. So a lot of the Sheltons, you can get a Shelton, the SkyFlite, which is the Strat, are $2,500 guitars. This is a couple $1,000s more.
We're talking like $4,000 to $5,000.
Right. So you're talking like high end and then highest end.
Yeah.
And so the question is, how does it compare? Now you can approach this thing philosophically, and you can approach it from a the law of diminishing returns, because it's like cost twice as much as a Sir. It's not twice as good, right? Because once you get up to this level of like, and this is true with anything, like the more you pay, the margin of how much better it is goes down. That's diminishing returns.
And I love this guitar. I'm like super blown away and inspired by it.
I've played it today for about an hour.
Yeah.
There's some magic in it.
We'll get there in a second, but...
All right, talk about it.
Oh, okay.
I keep interrupting you.
You're saying good stuff.
It's Brad's guitar, so...
So, I wanted one of these for a long while.
You sold a lot.
I sold a lot of gear to get to this. I wanted one of these for a long while. And there's something about the way they feel and they play. The pickups are super articulate. Like, that's what I want.
The pickups are magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some people, that would sound like, that could also be translated as they're bright, I guess, in a way, but they're very clear.
I wouldn't say bright.
They're not. Yeah. I mean, they're clear, so each note you hit...
full. Like,
really full. And like we were running this guitar's pickups through like humbucker settings, presets and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you could it split the difference and whatever. That's not
Yeah.
important. But Andy Elliot is a master at his craft. Mm-hmm. The attention to detail, part of it is you're getting a guitar that's really a piece of art. And like
Yes.
you may, and this is
Try and show like how this finish is done.
yeah, and you may not like want to partake in purchasing this piece of art, and I understand that, but I do,
Yeah.
and I did, and I'm very pleased.
You have to pay. You have to pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like we're
Doesn't come
talking,
cheap.
you know, you can't quite see. Maybe you can see. You just go onto like their Instagram.
We're gonna take some pictures today.
We're gonna take some
and
pictures,
Brad, I'm sure, will
anyways.
post them. Yeah.
But like, so this is red. I found out
it's sparkle.
it's got a little bit of sparkle to it.
Yeah.
I found out that this color red was made specifically for Taylor Swift's Red Tour. One of her guitarists asked for a tone master in this red, so that's pretty cool. There's a gold trim around here. You can kind of see. I'm looking at the camera and it doesn't look
It's like double bound.
it's double bound, and then there's this off white. And if you actually get real close, you can see it's like marbled a little bit. Like he did like this marbling texture.
On this?
Yeah, on the white part. So it's not
Wow.
it's not
I
just
did-
straight white. You see that now?
Oh, I do.
So see, Brian was holding this and didn't even notice it because
Well,
it's just so subtle and
And I think too, you
beautiful.
should like. There's no binding on it. We said
Yeah.
bound. It's all like
painted
it's
by
all
hand.
yeah.
Elliot, Andy did this.
Their finish work is crazy.
You can if it's catching the light right, you can see that the pick guard is an off white with some like marbling. You maybe actually see some of the sparkle. if
You
I'm
can
doing
see it
this.
in some of the photos you've posted.
Yeah,
on
it's
Instagram.
it's like a marbled pick guard too because it was hand painted also.
Mm-hmm.
And then like this, the work on the neck joint. I'm sorry, the headstock.
Yeah.
This is beveled too. This isn't just like painted brown or tinted or whatever. It's also kind of beveled a little bit, and then there's like this edging
Yeah.
around the headstock
And
back here.
And this little cutout is
Yeah,
stained.
that's
a
what I
different
was.
color.
Yeah, so and he like
And it's-
run around
and
it in
it's
gold.
bound and,
Yeah.
like trimmed.
So like
It is the best finish on a guitar I've ever seen.
it
I mean,
feels so
straight
good.
up.
It sounds so good. It looks so good. Your fret markers I think they're red on all guitars anyways. I like that it's red because
Yeah.
the guitar is red. So it kind of these are clay dot markers.
And they're like accented in gold.
They
They're-
are,
they're
yeah.
in
It's like a
gold.
red dot with a gold circle around it. I mean, it's every attention to detail, and so you're crossing a point where it's like you're not like I bet you if you were to somehow convince Andy because like he's very particular about quality and excellence. I don't think you could get him to do this, but if you could get him to just make a guitar with a like pretty standard finish,
Yeah.
I'm sure that would bring a lot of things down.
Well,
but
sure,
like,
that costs
that
costs a lot of money and time.
we could just keep going.
Also, how his entire life has been spent honing his craft to do something like this.
Yeah, and making
See,
it
that's
beautiful.
that's what you're paying for. Now, does the finish change the way it feels and sounds? No, but it's like you said, you're buying a piece of art, really, as well as like just a crazy awesome guitar.
Yeah.
But the pickups sound awesome. The neck, so we have a friend, Rick Brand, who's a buddy of ours. We've hung out with him before, but mostly we just hang out on the internet, on Facebook and stuff.
He lives in Ohio.
Yeah,
We hang out online.
we do. We have a message thread together.
Oh, there he is. Speaking of,
Is Rick here?
Is that why you're bringing? Oh, yeah.
No,
Rick
I was
brought it
just
up.
I was just saying, Rick has two tone masters, and he claims, and understandably, it's the best neck he's ever played in a guitar ever. As far as the and Brad and I were talking about this earlier this morning over coffee. It's not just the profile, and it's not just the way the frets are finished and stuff. And the Sir has this too, and the Sheltons and the Jennings. It's like there's like a feel that's different than the shape of it and the finish on it. There's a feel that's like it just feels like solid.
It's just like cohesive.
And it's easier to play on. Like I find that it's easier to play difficult passages and songs on. It's pretty outstanding, the neck on this guitar. And just the whole feel. It's very
Everything.
solid. Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of people that are saying lots of wonderful things about, but like that's your prerogative, and we're having a good time playing the guitars. And this still goes back to, at the end of the day, it's still going back to my comment, and I stand by it. play what inspires you.
Yeah.
If this is gonna make
within your budget.
and like I'm not saying that like
you should add that
within your budget.
Don't put this on a credit card, please.
If like this is not what I need to be inspired to play guitar.
Yeah.
Don't turn it around. Like this is not what I need to be inspired to play.
Because you played
I played a $500 Mexican Thinline up until like a few years ago.
And you play and like sounded awesome.
And I loved it. And like I would totally get one of those again if there was some reason why I couldn't have my guitars, then like but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about guitars. That's the fun of it. That's the whole point. And like it's not for everyone, and I get that. Like
so what have the comments been?
I don't know. This guitar is...
You don't need something that expensive? Is that what the comments are?
Not.
I don't know.
Guitar is my passion. Mm-hmm. Guitar is my hobby. Guitar is my job. Guitar is my second job. This guitar is my third job, actually. Because like I have different ways of bringing in income, and every way I bring in income revolves around playing guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. And so like I saw a guitar that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I made it happen.
You know what's kind of funny? We're holding these two guitars. I have about $500 into this guitar. Like that's what I spent on parts to build this. Now, granted, I put a lot of time and effort into it, but like this guitar and this guitar are separated by a 0 at the end of the number. But we could both play these guitars and both play well and accomplish the job that we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And honestly, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It does, what you play matters far less than the name on the headstock, the value of the instrument. It matters far less than how well you prepare, how much you practice, how well the condition of your heart. If you're playing worship music in a church, like the condition of your heart and the attitude you have towards your team and what you're doing, those things all matter. Yeah. Way more than the gear. But the gear is fun.
Yes.
And, so...
It's part of the journey. And, like...
Please understand all that.
Yeah. Like, Brian and I and Fuller, like, I can attest to... Because I'm not going to try to tell you about my heart. Because that doesn't help anything. But, like, Brian and Fuller are two of the most genuine guys and most amazing guys I've ever met. And, like, I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it again. If you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, I'm going to spend all my time with guys like Brian and Fuller. Like,
likewise, Bradford. I hang out with you.
Why? Because I can...
No.
I don't got to read... Like, why
would
you
know.
Brian lowers himself to spend time
with
me.
No.
This ain't a pity party.
You and Fuller are probably my 2 best friends. You guys might not know this.
We're the 3 best friends.
Yeah, but like... My best friends here in North Carolina are probably Bradford and Fuller. And we were talking with a guy. I was talking with a guy the other day on the phone who does YouTube and stuff, and he was like, you can tell that it's like we work together and we do a lot of content together here at Worship Tutorials, but we really are like just really good friends and hang out a lot.
And that's why this works, I think. Really. Yeah. I mean, I guess
this
on the business side of things.
Direction, but
yeah. Well, not really, because my whole point in bringing this up is like I don't get my worth from the fact that I'm holding an Elliot in my hands. Like I honestly even debated talking about having it because I knew people would give me flack. So we've had so many
questions though,
and people would give me flack about it, which is funny.
And we want to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's what we're about, but like. This to me was like a white whale guitar. Like I never thought I would actually be able to achieve it. Mm-hmm. And there was a handful of things that kind of just lined up. And like first off, my wife was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like,
"That's a good point."
I was like, "Okay, this is definitely
don't compromise your marriage or other relationships to purchase anything. It's not worth it."
Yeah, it's not.
Don't put it on a credit card. No, I've gone into debt.
Yeah, I'm still paying.
I've gone into debt before. The last guitar I ever went into debt for is right beside you.
Ooh, look.
The Martin.
That was it. Yeah.
The Martin D35, which I bought, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago in Oklahoma. I put that on a credit card. I played it and I had to have it. It's an excellent guitar. I didn't have to have it. I thought I had to have it. I put it on a credit card.
I paid for this in cash.
My relationship suffered with my wife because she was like, "You have an acoustic guitar. All these things are true. Why do you need another one on a credit card?" Why do we need to go into debt for something we don't really need? And that is a great. I don't know if any of you guys that are watching consider or do buy things on credit, but it's not. You shouldn't. So none of the other guitars in this room.
Do not be a slave to the lender.
Yeah, it's biblical. Yeah, if you buy, you are a slave if you're in debt. That's what the Bible teaches.
Yes.
So, because if you can't pay, guess what happens? They come get it.
And then you also end up owing more money than you needed to begin with. Anyways, guitars are neat.
It's not worth it, but it is fun to play nice guitars.
Are neat.
But if and the other thing I hope that you I'm trying to wrap this up. The other thing I hope you understand is if you play a Squier or an Epiphone, I hope that you don't feel like you're somehow less than somebody else who plays something higher end, because that is not true.
And I would actually argue
you made the point. Your worth and your value as a person and a guitar player, a musician,
has nothing
is
to do with
not tied to the name on the headstock.
Has nothing to do with it. Mm-mm. And I would actually argue that sometimes the people that are the more, and this isn't a blanket statement, but the people that are more pure in heart and are doing things for the reason of glorifying God are the people who are completely satisfied in what they have in their hands. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting nice things. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. Yeah. The problem is when those nice things have you. That was how my Baptist pastor growing up used to say. He's like, there's nothing wrong with having things. The problem is when things have you. He's like, oh, I like a turn of a phrase. I like turns of a phrase, if that's how you say it. But having gear that having excellent gear that you can lead worship in is important. But don't sacrifice integrity. Don't sacrifice relationships. Don't sacrifice anything, really. There's no reason. Yeah. I had to make a sacrifice to get this guitar. I had to sell another guitar and lots of pedals. Yeah. But that's not really a sacrifice because I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it happened. But I guess a lot of times we just make an assumption that people know our hearts behind things. But our heart, 100%, in everything we do in these videos is to equip people to lead excellent and authentic worship.
Which is people,
yes. And to lead the church. And these guitars, though, it's fun. And if we can provide an opportunity for you to engage with people who are going to lift you up, which is our goal, we hope that's what happens, that's what we want to do. There are plenty of other YouTube channels, there are plenty of other great people to follow on Instagram and Facebook, all of that. But having great gear is fun. And it provides community. Yeah. And some of our favorite people that we engage with, we've never actually met in person.
Right.
We've met in Facebook groups and we've redeemed technology to help equip the church and make, and figure out, we answer questions and we try to do all this stuff. And we like gear. But I absolutely guarantee you, if there was something that occurred in my relationship with my wife and it was we need to find X amount of dollars fast.
Yeah.
I would be okay, if I sold these things, it could happen, and my wife have comes first.
A medical issue, or a lot of people, these. Yeah, you're right. And I'll say another thing too. I said that a randomly used medical issue, anything in your life that causes that requires you to devote all of your finances to it. Mm-hmm. You really need one guitar and a Helix, and you can do what we do. That's it. You need to spend about, that's about all you need.
I like what Mark said.
What?
He goes, Jesus commended those that would sell everything they had to get something better. The pearl of great price, the treasure in the field.
That's true.
Interesting. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But I'll say another thing too. If you look at, I have a lot of guitars. I personally own, I think I've seen this.
Probably don't want to.
Yeah, a lot. But I will say this, I also own Worship Tutorials, the YouTube channel, and
Brian Wall Band.
That's.
If you've ever noticed, that's what it started as, and so the Earl is YouTube / Brian Wall Band or something like that.
Well, you can get to it. I've renamed it so that it's Worship Tutorials, but I think YouTube keeps that original title that you gave.
It still
the name
sends
of the
it.
channel?
I like copied it to send to somebody, and it said Brian Wall Band. I forgot about that. Got a nice chuckle. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, there is no Brian Wall Band. maybe 12 years ago when I started the channel, that was my aspiration.
The Band of Brothers.
I saw a comment that said, have you really had this channel for 12 years? And yes, I have. That's when I started it. But I will say that this is just a reality. If you other YouTubers, if you have a YouTube channel that now the focus of the channel is not gear. The focus of the channel is to equip, like Brad was saying, equip the church and the people who serve the church. But if you have a channel that has, it's close to 500,000 subscribers now, 500,000 YouTube subscribers.
That's a lot.
And
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, and if you look at views, like overall views, it's like 50 million plus views on videos and stuff.
That's nuts.
Or maybe it's more. I don't know. I haven't looked at that stat in a while. But like,
this isn't boasting.
No, it's just
he's coming to this point.
But like, you can acquire gear. Like companies will ask you to use gear in the videos, and the payment for that gear is using them in the videos.
Yeah. And like getting gear means either you get free gear or a decent price or whatever, or
it's an exchange.
Move money around. Yeah, it's like nothing is free in this world.
Yeah. Now, Worship Tutorials is not like an exclusive. Like we're not sponsored by anybody, But like, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Like, I haven't purchased 15 guitars in the last 5 years.
Or
right,
and some of them most.
Even though that maybe how many there are in the room, I haven't bought that many guitars. Not to boast or anything. Like Brad said, it's just that's not what I would spend that amount of money on.
Yeah,
because you don't need all that.
Yeah, we don't.
You don't need it, but I'm also not just gonna throw them away. I mean,
yeah, why would we do that? Mark gave a super chat and asked, Brian and I both actually, and Fuller, I think all three of us tend to stick to one guitar a service on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Like every once in a while I'll bring another one. Yeah, I mean if we're doing 4 songs, every once in a while I may bring one if there's this is a Strat and this has to be something different. But I rarely do that. Like on a night of worship, I'll bring 3 guitars to rehearsal.
Can you hold it?
I'll bring 3 guitars.
I'm gonna play a little something while we outro here.
I'll bring 3 guitars to rehearsal.
Speaking of nice high-end guitars.
Yes, right.
McPherson.
Mm-hmm. And I'll figure out based on what the other guys are playing, and also we did Israel song and a BJ Putnam song, and they both needed a Strat. Had to have a Strat. So I did that, and I used my Gretsch for some Hillsong stuff. Then I sold the Gretsch.
I used the Alt-T for that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it does the Strat thing.
Yeah.
All right, Brad. I'm ready for a cheeseburger in my life.
Amen, brother.
Company
Brian,
lunch.
It has been a weird last several weeks.
Pretty much.
Brian's son has been sick on two different Fridays.
Had so much sickness.
Yeah, and that's why Fuller's not here because his house is.
I got strep throat. The reason we haven't been live on a Friday for about a month is I got strep personally. My son had it before me. I think that's where I got it from.
And he had a stomach bug at one point,
and then he got the flu.
Yeah.
And then now my wife got the flu. And no, she has strep and maybe the flu.
And
she was off work one day.
Week.
She's back to work 2 days later.
She's a tough lady.
Yeah. My wife is extremely talented, devoted, hardworking.
And Brian's y'all know his credentials, but his wife is this ultra amazing doctor who's working on really cool stuff. So
yeah, well, not a medical doctor. She's a PhD.
Right, well, PhD. Sorry, but
yeah, microbiology and immunology. She's not dumb.
Yeah, no. Brian would be considered the dumb one between the two of them, and that's a smart thing for men to say, regardless.
Yeah. Speaking of sweet guitars, you know what? This is a McPherson carbon fiber acoustic guitar, and I sent it back to McPherson, and they put an LR Baggs Anthem pickup system in it, which is awesome. This guitar smells unique and really nice. I don't know if
it kind of reminds me of
carbon fiber.
Yeah.
But it smells and I've had it in the room I got it yesterday, and I've had it in here overnight. The whole room smells like this guitar, which is not a bad thing. It's really cool.
It's an awesome feeling and sounding guitar.
It's very unique. The whole thing is carbon fiber. The neck, everything.
Yeah.
Except for the hardware and
the
nut
obvious
and
stuff.
the bridge. Yeah.
Is it that bridge? Is this carbon fiber?
This is carbon fiber. The saddle is not.
The saddle.
The pegs
the bridge
are carbon
is.
fiber.
Wow.
Everything.
I didn't know that.
Everything is carbon fiber except tuning pegs, the nut, the saddle, and the pickup system, and the frets. The frets are,
cannot be carbon
but
fiber.
the frets are gold. They're EVO gold frets. They're like 3 times harder than nickel.
Interesting.
They're pretty much on the same level as stainless steel.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
It's a great guitar. It
sounds.
Yeah, it's.
I'm gonna strum it, and you can hear how it sounds. It's very good.
I love it. Turn it on.
Guys, I've seen a lot of like really awesome positive comments from you guys, just kind of flying by. I just want to say thank you for all that. Thank you guys for
makes it fun.
engaging with it. We've been live for a long time now. We need to go eat. But thank you guys for engaging with the content and for hanging out with us in live videos and just being awesome. Every once in a while, there's some you get a lot of negative. I have a channel basically on religion. So. Which can draw out a lot of really negative comments in our culture.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can get fixated on that stuff, but I know that the majority of you guys that are watching are just, your hearts are to serve your church and to serve God. And that's why we're here, to help you do that better.
Yeah.
Be encouraged. Thank you all so much for watching.
And these it doesn't have to stop here. We got 2 Facebook groups, WT Leaders, WT Tone. Make sure you answer those questions. They're there to protect our group, so please do that if you want to join.
Oh yeah, if you want to join.
If you want to join the group. Follow us on Worship Tutorials on Instagram, Twitter, and WT Tone on Instagram. And there it is. We try to answer. We will say this though, Brian and I do get a lot of questions, sometimes personally sent to us, and it can be very hard to respond. So just know that. So if you post in a public group that we have, you could get other people's insight as well, which is the whole point. It builds community. So we'd love for you to check those groups out. And
let's try.
We're
gonna
go do some stuff.
You play a little something.
Okay.
Play an outro, and I'll try and end it.
I don't know what I'm gonna play.
I do. It's gonna probably have a name John and M. Ayer. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Hopefully Friday. Hopefully next Friday. Hopefully Fuller will be with us next Friday. I might have family in town though.
I don't understand the problem.
Okay. Yeah. They can laugh at us. What are you guys doing on the internet? What? Okay. That's an awkward way to end. All right. See you guys later.